All right, how you doing? My name is Devin Massey, and for my action project, I chose to do the topics of domestic and youth violence. I chose these topics because back in my hometown in Fayetteville, North Carolina, last summer, I was introduced to a opportunity working with a program called Find a Friend. And basically, what Find a Friend is it's a daycare center for troubled kids. And by troubled kids, I mean kids that are in trouble with the law, kids that are having obviously family issues, domestic abuse related issues, children that are having emotional or mental issues, children that are going through different phases of bullying in school and stuff like that. And what our job is to basically be that ray of hope for that child. We're there to show them a better path than what they were basically raised on. Generally, at least in my opinion, people grow up and remain in the usual cycles that they are raised in. So in my case, with the children that I work with at Find a Friend, a lot of the kids are raised in sexually abusive households, physically abusive, mentally abusive, and that's really all they're really raised to know. And it gets to the point where as they grow up, they get used to that treatment and they just grow to accept the behavior and the actions bestowed on them by their parents or their guardians, and they take it as normal behavior. So as they get older, they don't really think twice about being treated the way that they're treated. And in my mind, and from what I've experienced both outside and inside of the program, people tend to, like I said, remain in those cycles as they grow up. So you'll have kids that feel left out or feel neglected through the actions from their guardians or their parents, but they get older and they're doing the same things to their kids, or the specific lifestyles that they see their guardians and parents raise and I guess get themselves into. That's the type of lifestyle that the kid ends up getting into. And things like that, it's really just, like I said, it's what they know. It's what they've been raised around. It's what they've experienced all their life. So they don't really know anything different. And I strongly believe that with kids being exposed to different types of knowledge and pathways in life, that's really what works when trying to introduce different aspects of life to children. Like a kid that's raised with a single parent, a single mom, and she's living paycheck to paycheck, and she doesn't really care for the child. She makes sure he has food, she makes sure he has clothes and a place to sleep, but after that, it's really just, she's not really there opened emotionally for the child, and she isn't there to really mentally and emotionally support the child. It's just supporting the child physically and making sure he has food to eat and a bed to sleep on. In most cases, in situations like that, you have situations where the mom is extremely supportive and will go just all in with the child and making sure he has the best education, the best environment, the best circle of friends, the best teachers, and to the best of her ability, obviously. But just you'll have a lot of parents that do that. And that's where you hear those stories of kids that are raised in poverty and homelessness, where they rise above all odds and they bring their parents to a very rich lifestyle for what they struggled through while the kid was young. And in my case, with the kids I work with, the parents really just make sure they have the bare minimum and they aren't really there for the child emotionally or mentally. And so in those cases, you have situations where the kids just continue the cycle. So our job is, like I said, to be the difference. We're there to bestow that knowledge of there's a different path. You don't have to follow what your parents did or what your guardian did. You can choose your own path. And to do this, we do lots of activities that normal daycares would do, but also every single week, every Thursday, we take the kids out of town to go see museums, amusement parks. We take them out to go eat places. It's really just a grand field trip thing. And I mean, if money's tight that week, then we'll just go to the bowling alley, we'll go roller skating, and we'll take them to a movie. But we make it a habit to always take them out and show them things outside of their hometown. So the benefit of that would be just they experience things outside of Fayetteville or Hope Mills. It's not just being raised and experiencing the same area through your whole life. You can say, oh, well, I've been to Raleigh, I've been to Charlotte, I've been to Durham, and all these different places, and I've seen a lot of things, and I've experienced a lot with my family, which is what we try to instill in the kids, that you're all one big family, all the kids there in the program, and you're there to support each other and to help one another. The supervisor there, Miss Shauna and Miss Rosha, I initially started working there 2 summers ago. And at first it was as a volunteer. And the next coming summer, I was actually able to reapply for a hiring and paying position. And there were a lot of stories that a lot of the kids' lives that I learned about. The first summer where I was just volunteering, it wasn't really necessary for me to know a lot of the kids' stories, and admittedly, I can understand why the staff kind of kept the stories to themselves, but obviously after being hired the next summer, I needed to know some of the stories because there were some kids that were on protective watch where we couldn't record them or take pictures of the children because they were being protected and hidden from certain people that were probably looking for them. And I can't get into too much detail of a lot of the stories, but some of the stories were ridiculous. And it was really the younger ones, like the 6, 7, 8-year-olds that had the most messed up stories. And working with kids like that, it's tough because, I mean, I know one kid in particular, his story was so crazy. Like, I just, because me and him, we had a really good connection, and I felt like an older brother to him. And he came to me for a whole lot. He'd always want me to interact with him whenever they were doing certain activities. And I remember one day I finally heard his story, and it messed me up hearing his story, because just looking at him from day to day, seeing that smile on his face and seeing him interacting with all the other kids and having a good time, all I could think of was, how in the world does this child smile every day? How does he come here and have fun living what he's been through so far? And for all I know, he may not even realize how serious the situation he was in is. It, like I said, may just be normal because he's just so used to it. And I don't think jobs like this are really meant for everybody, because to a certain extent you have to remove your emotions from the situation, like with the child that I heard about. It would have been, because I mean, like, even with his parents coming to pick him up, like, I couldn't look at his parents the same, because it's like, how could you do this to your child? And how could he still be happy when you guys come and pick them up, doing what you did and very well may still be doing to this child. But you have to take your emotions out, because at the end of the day, the program is there to not shun the child and make him feel like what he's gone through is so bad that he can't come back from it. It's a place where, regardless of what you've been through, you can still receive help and have people that care for you and be there for you. You can still come and talk to us about whatever it is on your mind, without having to fear us judging you or being like, okay, this is too much. Like, we can't do this anymore. And it's been a crazy experience. It's only been for 2 summers, and I've experienced more with them than I have any other job, easily, by far. I wouldn't trade the experiences for the world, and I wouldn't trade the relationships that I've built with these children for anything. It's really opened my eyes to the type of world we live in, and just how scary situations can be for kids that are your neighbors. Like, they're right there next to you. It's not some kids in a whole different continent or a different country. It's these kids are like right down the street from you, and you would never know the stories and the things that they've had to go through, because they keep it bottled up and they don't know how to express those things. I think the best thing about the job, obviously, is the connections that me and the staff are able to build with these children, because there are certain kids that come into the program quiet. They don't talk to anybody because they feel like outcasts. They feel like loners, like they can't talk to anybody, like they can't express themselves to anybody because nobody would understand. And to a certain extent, some of the staff members, like myself, I didn't come from a perfect background, but I didn't come from a background that was as severe as some of these kids' background is. And you can't really empathize 100%, because obviously if you haven't experienced what the kids have experienced, you don't know what they're going through. And at that point, you just have to be able to say, look, I don't know how you feel at this moment, but I want you to know that I sympathize with what you have gone through, and I'm here for you. If you need to talk about anything, I'm here for you, and I'm here to listen. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to look at you and think that you're just anything less than a child, because that's all you are, as a child. And I'm here to support you and make sure you know that there is someone here that cares. And just gradually over time, there have easily been a handful of kids each summer where they come in quiet, they don't really talk to anybody, and gradually they open up to you as you just let them know that, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to listen, and I'm here to support you, and I'm here to be here for you. As far as a fix for domestic and youth violence, I think programs like Find a Friend are a pretty good step towards ending the cycle of domestic and youth violence. And more importantly than that, and really just a branch off of what we already do, I truly believe that knowledge is what will solve domestic and youth violence. Because there are a lot of situations where people want to do better for themselves, or they don't want to repeat what they were raised into, but they don't have the knowledge of a better path. So naturally, they just revert back to the path they already know. And with programs like Find a Friend, we're there to give them the knowledge of, you can go to school, you can pursue careers, you can follow your dreams, you can choose something other than what you were raised under. and we're there to give them that knowledge. And I truly think that knowledge of a better action is what solves a lot of the domestic and youth violence issues, because people don't enjoy being violent towards their kids or violent towards their spouse or friends and family. It's just that they don't know how to control those emotions or how to reflect upon themselves and figure out why they act as they do. It's just they know they do it, but they don't know how to counteract those actions and those emotions or behaviors. It's just, I hit my wife today and I did it because I was pissed off about the whole day. And I don't like doing this, but I don't know how to control my emotions, or I don't understand my emotions. And I feel like a lot of situations that stem from domestic and youth violence come from the misunderstanding of emotions and why they behave the way they do, why they feel the way they do, and helping people understand their actions and their emotions and behaviors, I feel like will allow them to pursue more knowledge on how to fix themselves internally and break the cycle. And that's my take on domestic and youth violence. Thank you.